So Nintendo announced the first Indie World presentation of this year, and it's probably over already by the time you're watching this video, which means that Nintendo is still having a pretty decently normal year. Even outside the fact they haven't announced really any new first-party games, they're still going about the year like they normally would. However, I've seen a lot of people mention that just because we got this Indie World, it could mean we could get a General Direct finally, shortly after it, and I'm here to say that really has no correlation. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't any evidence supporting that there could be a Direct very soon, but Indie Worlds kind of just do their own thing, and I actually can prove it to you right now. Indie Worlds happen around the same time each year. For instance, 3 of the last 5 years have been in April, 2 of the last 4, we've had one in August, 2 of the last 4, we've had one in November, and 3 of the last 4, we had one in December. So April, August, November, and December seem to be the big months for indie showcases. Now, as far as Nintendo Directs go, 4 of the last 5 have been in February, 4 of the last 4 had something in June, and 4 of the last 4 had something in September. But this one isn't a big surprise. These are normally the times we get Nintendo Directs. They're always in February, June, and September, 3 for the year. So there's not a whole lot of correlation that we can go off of here. It doesn't mean that there's an upcoming Nintendo Direct or anything like that. It seems to be an Indie World every 2 months after the Nintendo Direct. February into April, June into August, and September into November. Even though there's no direct comparisons we can make with Indie Worlds and Nintendo Directs, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is no evidence of a Nintendo Direct coming up. In fact, Nintendo's still doing their usual thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize that just because we had a partner direct to start the year. This year is clearly different than any year we've had before, and even with that said, Nintendo's still kind of functioning at normal. They had a Nintendo Direct in February. It just was a partner direct. They had a Pokemon Presents. They had an Indie World. It's not like Nintendo's sitting on their hands and doing absolutely nothing. They're still doing normally what they do at the normal times, just a little bit differently. We just haven't had a first-party general Nintendo Direct so far, and that's okay. But they did, in fact, have a partner direct, and that does, unfortunately, take the spot of a general, and I can tell you why. Now, this same thing has already happened in the past, actually in June of 2022, where instead of an E3-like showcase or even a general Nintendo Direct, they gave us a mini partner showcase at the end of the month, and we had to wait until September for our next Nintendo Direct, or at least our next general one. So yeah, Nintendo doesn't just say, hey, here's a partner, and then a couple months later, here's a Direct. So I don't know why those rumors were even coming up in the first place of a Direct happening in April. We're not going to get anything until June, at least Direct-wise. Also, the Indie World's over. Nope. Once again, no Silksong. You know what? Let's go back to Silksong for a second, because this one's interesting to me. It's been like 5 years of us waiting for this game to come out, and every indie showcase and every Nintendo Direct, everyone's talking like, is there like a chance we could see it? And I guess just recently, the last couple of days, a lot of things have happened that looked like it was about to be revealed. For instance, like different dates and pre-order dates, there's stuff popped up on the websites, and it looked like it was getting ready to be revealed very, very soon. Like ratings were popping up, and it still didn't happen. So maybe they're waiting for a bigger event to showcase this game. Maybe that is some evidence of a Direct. I'm reaching here, guys. Look, I have nothing to go off of. But why did Nintendo just decide to do this partner direct in the first place? Well, it was a thing that happened in 2020 because Nintendo didn't have games to announce because of the crisis going on around the world, being the virus. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, why did they do it again in 2022 after years of everything being okay? Well, it was because they just simply had nothing to show, and with the blind side of E3 not being there again, Nintendo was just like, well, we've got nothing really planned and we don't need to show anything right now. I mean, we knew that Tears of the Kingdom was coming and also Splatoon 3, but at this time there was a lot of weird things going on with Nintendo 2 in 2022. For instance, Xenoblade 3 and Splatoon 3 just randomly swapped dates, which was very weird, putting Xenoblade 3 earlier in the summertime and Splatoon 3 later on in the fall/winter. To me, it felt like they were planning to do something like different or something that we weren't expecting in 2023. Maybe there was going to be the announce of the new Switch in 2023 or something like that, but Nintendo said, hold up, we still got some games. Because obviously they were still sitting on a couple things like Mario Wonder and Metroid Prime Remastered. So it goes to show that maybe since 2023 or maybe even 2022, the earliest, they started thinking about the future of what they wanted to put out. Real quick guys, before we continue, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're enjoying today's video, because we are almost just 10,000 subscribers away from 300,000, so you can make this goal happen very quickly by just leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you guys, and let's jump back into the video. So that means Nintendo just didn't have games to share in the summer of 2022. So maybe that's the same exact thing here. With the apparent internal delay of Switch 2, they're just sitting there like, look, we've got nothing. Maybe there are a couple of small little games they could announce via like Twitter or something, maybe like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD, Metroid Prime 2 or 3, and maybe that's just about it. And they're like, we're not going to be able to have a whole presentation for these games, so maybe in the future we get like a mini direct or something. But as of February of this year, Nintendo didn't have anything to show, probably because all the big things are still for the next console and they're waiting for a good time to show that off. Now we talked about this a lot, and it comes down to the question every single time of what are we going to expect from Nintendo now? As we are halfway through the month of April and almost approaching May, when is there going to be a direct? When is there going to be a Switch 2 reveal? When is all this stuff happening? Like I said, I think June is the absolute earliest we get any type of direct or presentation at all, but the thing that makes it very difficult is the fact that Nintendo could have a Switch 2 reveal in June, but then a lot of people would say, okay, these are a lot of cool games and stuff coming next year, and then people would be upset that there's no games coming this year. There's no way Nintendo goes from July to December, a 6-month period of absolutely no first-party releases. To me, this would be the best idea. Nintendo should announce this new console in May before their investors meeting to get everybody excited and say, hey, here's the new console, or at least just announce the name, or just, you know, the fact that it's coming. Just literally that information alone is enough to get people hyped and start talking about this thing. But yes, this makes sense to get that out of the way before the investors meeting, and then in June you can have a Nintendo Direct to talk about some small, you know, first party Nintendo Switch games coming this year, like the Wind Wakers, the Twilight Princesses, the Metroid Prime 2 and 3s, some other small titles. And then on the second half of the show, you can talk about big new titles coming in 2025 to the Nintendo Switch 2. That way you cover both with this one presentation. But even with that, there is a chance that Nintendo just says no Switch 2 reveal in June. In fact, they might push it back to like September's Direct or something like that. If the new console is coming out at the beginning of next year, I feel like they might be able to do this, but they still have to at least announce some of the games, I feel like. I feel like that will be a very short notice if there is a big Mario game or a big Mario Kart or other big title coming out at the beginning of next year with that console. So the games are important. They need to get those games announced, but there is a chance that they could just go into June this year and maybe have a mini direct, or maybe just have another partner showcase and make us wait even longer for a Switch 2 reveal, like in September or later on this year. Who really knows? Right now, it just seems like it's going to be a big wait. But either way, there's going to be something in June. Is it going to be a general, a mini, or a partner, or a Switch 2 presentation? I don't know. Something is happening in June. I am, 100% positive of it. No matter what it's going to be, it could be a partner direct, but something, and I would probably look at the end of June makes the most sense, because in 2022, since E3 was no longer a thing for Nintendo, they went with June 28th, and in 2021, it was June 21st, so pushing towards the end of the month, because a lot of other companies like to do their presentations towards the beginning. They want to get out of the way from everybody else and do their own thing. But now we sit and we wait. Of course, it is going to probably still be a long wait to get through the entirety of May and even half of June or most of June before we get any type of announcements on first-party games, so hopefully Nintendo does have a secret presentation coming up very soon, maybe in the month of May, that gives us some more information on what to expect in the future of Nintendo. But let me know in the comments down below what you think Nintendo is going to do with the Switch 2 or with a future Nintendo Direct, and let me know if you enjoyed today's Indie World. Let me know if any of the games look exciting to you, and if you're still upset that, of course, Silksong wasn't announced still. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to help us reach 300K before you go, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.